consent to, board and coordinator for consent to do a trade on the previous administrator's vehicle, to get a vehicle to put back in patrol. What we're looking to trade is the 2019 Dodge Ram. I've got with the dealership where we buy our cars, they're offering $38,200 on trade. And if the purchase of the car would leave $7,000 left over roughly, if we had one car on the way that we haven't paid for, that would drop that payment tremendously from $25,900 to $18,900. So it would give us another car on patrol and knock off some of the bills we got coming.
That other vehicle was already purchased, right? Already approved for purchase?
Yes, ma'am, it's been on back order, it's Dodge, they're building it, so it is already been approved for purchase, and it's ordered, it's just, we're waiting on it to get here.
It's in the budget.
Yes. It was approved.
I make a motion that we approve the trade.
Second, all in favor?
Thank you. I also have one more thing to ask the board and the coordinator, to bring up some budget amendments. We had some vehicle wrecks and insurance claims, that were paid out by the insurance departments, they were paid in. They came in and they got deposited into the town's budget. We need to do an amendment for those. Total on those is $39,193.54. I've done the amendment paperwork with Jason, and he has more information on that, and also he has copies of all the insurance plans. Anybody wants to see them?
Alright, so, does anybody need to see those, or y'all understand what we're doing?
Budget amendment.
Budget amendments, they were basically, the checks were sent to the town and they got deposited in the general funds, they need to be appropriated to the police department.
We do have one damaged vehicle that we need to get them appropriated to get it fixed. One of them was for a total vehicle we had, Ranlo, that would get a telephone pole. That's what it is.
So, motion to move this money back over to the police department where it goes.
Yes, sir.
We have a motion for that.
I make such a motion.
Second. All in favor? All right, so carried there. And the other one you was talking about, repairing a vehicle?
It's part of the insurance claims. We got the payment to repair our vehicle. It's just the money went into a different fund, so we can't take it to the body shop till the money moves.
So the money went to general funds, it's go over to the police department?
Yes, sir.
You've got the paperwork on that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we need a motion.
Is that involved in
it's
this?
involved in
It's
this.
already
It's
involved
all
in that.
together. It
Okay.
was several
We did it all together.
vehicle claims. I just need to move the money so we can get fixed those. All right. Thank y'all, that's all I have.
Thank you, Jim. Next department head will be, let's see. CJ, you got public works?
Sure.
Bring it on.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Public Works was busy this month, as always. Public Works did a total of 124 work orders through the town. We added 29 new water and sewer customers to our system. Sanitation, picked up a total of 156 tons of waste. We also, as of yesterday, received our new 25-yard trash truck that y'all approved a few months ago. It is now in and in service. Stormwater, the stormwater crews, which is Hippie and Chris Wright, they replaced a culvert in Peaceful Plains that the top of it washed out and was causing a hazard for that community. So the town stepped in and replaced that culvert for them, because eventually a car would go through it, and there was already a hole showing through the road. So the town went ahead and replaced that. Last week's heavy rain caused some minor flooding to the storm drain system. The creeks and the system itself was went to max capacity, so that's where we got some flooding in some backyards and some of the neighborhoods, but no damage to any structural property or any private property from I'm aware of. We also have been, The guys also replaced multiple street signs that have been missing or broken from the storm. We also got an estimate to concrete all the parks, sidewalks, and make them handicap. You're looking at about 48 yards of concrete that'd be needed to actually get all the sidewalks concreted in. We assisted with a large tree removal on Spencer Avenue that was causing, damage to our sidewalks and trip hazard. The bridge at the park was re-roofed and it's no longer leaking. And to the big stuff, water and sewer. Back in January 18th, I believe, we had a 6-inch main blowout in tea time. Crews worked about 8 hours over getting that repaired. Luckily, no customers went with that water for more than 8 hours, so that was good. We had our annual state sewer inspection. We walked away with no violations, which is fantastic for us. The inspector did recommend 3 recommendations. One of them is to replace the aerial crossing, which goes across at the very end of Burlington. It is in bad shape, and the pipe itself is all out of alignment. It's all looks like a black snake. It's crooked. He recommended that be put in the budget for this year to be repaired. Also do some clearing on the Spencer Heights outfall and sealing up old brick made manholes, which is nothing. That's stuff we can handle. On the 30th on the same day of our sewer inspection, the force main at the Duff Street lift station blew out on our property. We spilled about 2,000 gallons of raw sewer onto our property, luckily. Kemp Inc. and Ray Septic was called in to fix the problem. They were able to fix it in about 5 hours. Ray's had to be called in because we had to shut down the lift station and we'd be able to suck out the wet well and transport the sewage to another site for us. And then as of last Thursday on the 6th, when the big storm came, it overflowed the sewer system as well, and Duff Street lift station overflowed. I had to report to the state that we overflowed about 30,000 gallons of raw sewage into the open and out of our system. And the state did their report, and just due to the rain, there was nothing we could do to both pumps. Ray's was called in. Ray's ran 3 trucks, 4,000 gallon trucks nonstop for 11 hours to keep it below minimum. So I ain't got that invoice yet. So, and then the big one, the same day, 8-inch creek crossing on Crossway Circle, washed out about 40 foot of pipe down the creek. Right now the system's in a bypass mode, bypassing broke. Kemp Services is going to be doing the repairs within the next week, and unfortunately that's already been in place, but I've just got to inform y'all that cost is going to be $12,895 for y'all to, yeah, and then this is something that has to be done. And that, luckily for us, that only done 300 gallons into the creek, so that was not considered a big spend.
Now, the Duff Street, the manholes were flooded by the creek, correct?
Right. And once the water gets above your manholes and it enters into your system and your lift station is at capacity and the pumps can't keep up, it has to go somewhere. That's all the public works has.
All right, thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Any questions, anybody? No? All right. Next, report will be from, Sports and Rec. Leah, you wanna do it?
Alright, we started the youth sports signups. They'll run through March the 2nd. I've had a pretty good number of signups. I have a lot of calls coming in, so I'm hoping that everybody normally waits till the last minute to sign up anyway, but I'm looking forward to having a T-ball, soccer, and cheer and dance team for sure. We're still playing co-ed volleyball on Thursday nights at 6:30 at the Ranlo Church of God. And if you don't want to play, you could at least come out and cheer us on. It's great fun. We have about 20 that show up to play. So we'd like for everybody to come out and participate. We're starting a senior exercise called Senior Size every Tuesday in March at 3 o'clock. So we're encouraging all seniors to come out and exercise with us, and that'll be in the community building. We're also gonna do a senior spring out of the house bingo, Friday, March the 20th at 1 p.m. And we're gonna do a little light lunch that day as well. So we're trying to incorporate more for our seniors to do and get involved more in the town and get out of the house and have a little something they can do. So that's all I have.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, fire department, then were you ready to?
Oh,
CJ
we deputy chief there, huh?
Randy's also has something for the fire department as well.
Well, he's got it.
We got him.
Oh, he's on his
We got him
own.
He's on his own.
The fire department, for the last month, we ran a total of 79 calls. 10 of them calls were fires, 40 were EMS calls, 13 were service calls, 6 were good intents calls, 9 were false alarm calls, and 1 weather-related call. And that would equal your 79. And I know some people have been wondering, I told y'all last month I would come back with prices for the bricks for the new fire station. The committee over our building has decided to hold off on that until the station gets done, and we'll do that as a separate part, not with the actual main construction. So I will in the future, and so far, if the weather holds, end of May and June now is when the new fire station should open. Thank you.
I'd like to say something for the fire department too. If y'all heard the alarm going off during the storms, that is the tornado warning sound. So I know you're not used to hearing it here lately because it's been broke, but that's what it'll sound like. If it goes off multiple times back to back, that means that it's pretty much imminent that this Ranlo is right in the path. So just pay attention to that.
All right, next report would be, administration. Tracy's.
Money in the bank accounts as of January 31st, BB&T concentrated, $811,311.18. BB&T payroll, $8,774.33. North Carolina Capital Management General, $2,319,353.31. And Powell, $390,774.61.
All right, if y'all don't know, this is Tracy's last week with us. She's taking another job. It's gonna be a sad day, losing her services after 17 years
Yes, sir.
in 2 different departments. We're gonna really miss her. But we hope for the best for you. All right, next item on the agenda would be Randy Thompson. Please step to the podium. We'll get to hear from
Excuse me,
Randy.
excuse me, before you start, can I do something on the MTO?
You wanna do something on the MVO?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Randy, have a seat.
Just one
Yes,
second,
sir.
just one second. I just want you all to know that in the last meeting, they highlighted how much they liked that Leah and Tracy were coming to the TCC meetings. And with that, it also helped for the widening of Spencer Mountain Road is one of the top 5 projects now. They're just waiting for funding, but they feel like, it will probably be at least 2 years before the state gives, has the money to actually do it. But it did rank high for Ranlo. I think it was number 4 on the list of projects, the widening of Spencer Mountain Road. So I just wanted to share that, and, thank you, Tracy.
All right. So we'll have to, get a replacement for you. Unless you.
No, sir.
All right. So we'll go with Randy now.
Yes.
Randy.
Sir. Hey, good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, distinguished town officials. Hate to see you go, Tracy, but you're up to you that. And most of all, great citizens here of the United States of America. And appreciate y'all coming out. My name is Randy Thomas, and I've been a lifelong resident of this community here, the Ranlo community, all except for maybe about 6 years. So when I lived in, of course, York County as a little child. And I have a request. Because you all seen our new firehouse out here. And the road right before the firehouse is Robin Street. And Robin Street pulls off of Spencer's Mountain Road and it intersects back with Rex Avenue. There's no addresses on that particular street, so it will not create an inconvenience for any residents who live there. Our request is to, if y'all would, if you could find it in your heart to rename that street after one of our fallen brothers, Billy Ray Fulbright, who committed the ultimate sacrifice there for the town and the department back in 1977. And he was a great mentor to us all. He was the type of guy, you just felt like, you just knew him your entire life. He's one of these individuals who would just, you could deal with anyone. I don't care if you were a young kid, which at that time we were all young kids when we joined the department. And he taught us to be great firefighters, but most of all, he taught us to be, good people there. And he left a heck of a legacy for this town. He was one of the organizers of the fire department back in 1970. Of course, this year, it's going to be our 50th anniversary for the fire department. And hopefully we have a big birthday celebration with the open house. And the point I'm getting at, he was more than just a great firefighter, and of course he sacrificed his life. Like I said before, he was just a great mentor. I had two great parents there, a mother and a father. I'm lucky enough to have my grandparents and my great-grandparents. Spent a lot of time down in York County and our ancestral home place down in Chester County, South Carolina. It dates back to the 1700s, believe it. And I was taught, great values. But one thing about it, though, once you get out in the real world, hey, you're gonna have peer pressure. And this peer pressure, you ever heard the old saying about, Jersey trumps ideology. You're gonna be like the people you hang around. I don't care what you taught. I could go to any great university, medical university. Say, for instance, I went to a great medical university and I had impeccable credentials, and come out and you say, well, I got a brain tumor. Could you come and operate on it? You say, are you crazy? You run away from it. But Bill was the type of person that would give you these life experiences there. And that's what we really appreciated him most of all. He along with, of course, several other individuals in this town, of course, a guy named Joe Hauser, who got me interested in the fire department here. And, of course, a gentleman named I'll put it this way. He was the chief of Lowell Fire Department, Gerald Sprinkles there. He was about the same type of person that could really deal with kids there and could really talk to him. And he just made a major influence in my life. And he and Bill was pretty good buddies there, and Bill could tell some good stories there. But one of my most favorite stories about Gerald and Bill, they both wanted to join the Lowell Fire Department when they were kids, but they weren't quite old enough. So they thought they would just, they would go across the river and get them some beer there. And they would come into the firehouse down in Lowell, they pull the fire engines out, and as cars passed by, they would hose everybody down. And as soon as they ran out of water in the fire engines, they were, back the rigs back up into the station with no water. But I'm saying that because I'm not trying to make Bill a saint. Bill and Gerald, either one, were not saints there, but the main thing about it, they influenced so many people. I know when we was here as kids with the department here in the town, President John Kennedy once said that, ask not what you can do for your country. Ask not what the country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. And Dr. Martin Luther King once said, right after the civil rights movement and the legislation was passed in In 1964, people were coming to him and saying, well, you know, things still hadn't changed there. I voted. Well, you know, and Dr. King told him, he said, you can't just vote and just go to sleep until the next election and then come back. You're gonna have to be an active part of the process. And to me, Bill, you know, personified both of those type of individuals where it was just total commitment to the community. And that's why I'm requesting that the town, if you, and the citizens here that find it in your heart, just to name that street, Rodman Street, after Billy Ray Fulbright. I would like to see it named Billy Ray Fulbright Way, because he had that certain way about him that could just really influence people. And so many people here living today, he's probably alive because of what he did, and we're gonna have a new station, which is his legacy. And I tell you, on that fateful day, back in July of 1977, Bill was a long haul trucker, away from home all the time. And that morning, that day, the siren went off where Gaston County gave us a house fire. And Bill left his beautiful family. He had a beautiful wife and beautiful daughter. He could have said, hey, I've been on the road all the time. I gotta stay here, spend some more time with my family. Let somebody else do it. But he made that commitment to do it. And if you ever, you know, back in the day, of course, we have one of the best departments around now because we do have professional firefighters here during the day and EMTs, one thing or another. But back in the day, you just depended on total volunteer, you know, showing up. And I tell you, if you ever get the call and it's up here by yourself and you pull up and that siren is running, it seemed like time stands still. And you have Gaston County hollering and screaming at you on the radio, say, Ranlo, are y'all en route? Are you en route? They have people trapped. But you know, there's protocol within the fire department. You don't do any freelancing. You don't split the team up. But, well, right now, there's a firefighter, you can Google it when you get home, excuse me, for not remember the department, but it's up north, one of the big city departments. He's been suspended for a week because the team was knocking down the fire and he heard someone says a lady was trapped in the house. So he went in there by himself and saved the lady's life, but he's still gonna spread it. But the point I'm getting at, when you get in that rig and you're heading out to that fire, which Bill, you know, those days like that, you know, people expecting, you know, say you got that big red fire engine, you know, all the equipment, they expecting a lot of firefighters. And you drive up, you know, you see the excitement on their face and they look at you, you're the only one. And they say, I don't know what y'all expecting, but I'm it, you know. But that was the type of person Bill was. He would just, the town meant everything to him, and the department meant everything, and just serving the community just went, it just was everything to him. But he left a heck of a legacy. I don't want to go rattling on and on and on, but I just want you to remember one thing about the Ranlo Fire Rescue before I say this. We have a new chief now, and I want y'all to support Chief Moore with 100%, put it at 100% behind, and Deputy Chief Harper here. And please support it because this department is yours. It's not only the Ranlo Fire Rescue, it's your fire rescue. But just remember this one thing, and the legacy that Bill left us about not letting anyone down. You can always believe, you can always think that socket over there, it may or may not be, you know, contain electricity, or this air that you breathe in may or may not be killing you. But one thing for sure, when you're having the worst day of your life and you call 911, the Ranlo Fire Rescue will not let you down. So God bless y'all all, and I appreciate your time.
So, are you thinking, Billy Ray Fulbright Senior? Cause he does have a son that's a junior.
Right, no, just, and that would be fine, but just Billy Ray Fulbright.
Way.
Billy Ray Fulbright Way,
Wait.
because of his, legacy and the way he had about doing things.
Yeah, but Junior's still alive. Junior's
Yeah,
still
right,
there.
yeah, he is, yeah, we've talked with him, Doug called him, we talked with him before we even, brought this up. But that would be up to y'all, what do you think, Doug, CJ? Would you want the junior,
Senior,
the senior on that?
I think his son would like Billy Ray Fulbright.
Okay. If y'all would consider that, we should appreciate it.
It's gonna be tough for me. It's gonna be tough for me.
Say what?
It's gonna be tough for me.
Oh, yeah.
Take him to your street.
Why is it
She
gonna
wants
be
the
tough?
sign. I know.
Because it's already Vine Street.
Oh, what's his name after you? No.
I know, but,
But don't make the street sign to you.
thank you.
so do we have a motion to go ahead with this proceeding to?
I make
change-
such a motion.
Motion second. All in favor? So carried.
Thank y'all. God bless.
We'll get those to work either with Jason or the upcoming administration. Right.
Can I still have the street sign?
Okay, reports from mayor and commissioners. I don't have any report. Any commissioners have anything to report on?
Mayor, I got a request from the Public Works Department is looking for another truck. And we've come up with, the police department is wanting to phase out of the trucks altogether but one. And, David said they were willing to exchange, one of the patrol trucks to the Public Works Department to use as a Public Works vehicle in exchange for them, getting a used SUV for the K-9. It's already complete with the K-9 cage and everything in it. And Mr. Green and Mr. Harper has went through the budget and found that they can purchase that out of their budget. They got money in the budget to move around to purchase that out of the budget, the SUV. And we just exchange trucks between departments. Because the Public Works has a bigger need for a truck than the police department does.
And, we want the public works to buy a SUV.
Yes, it's a,
Change it out.
Right, it's a government vehicle, it's on a government site, and it's already set up professionally for a K-9 vehicle and everything, so,
How much money we talking about?
it is, $16,000 delivered. Turnkey delivered, and it's already, it's got some blue lights in it already, and it's got the K-9 cage, the fan, the door poppers, so if the officer's out having his car and he gets in a struggle, he can push the button and open the door and the dog can out. So, but they found money in their public works budgets that they can move around to, buy this, vehicle and not put stress on the budget.
All right. Sounds like a good swap to me. I have a motion.
Make that motion.
Okay, second.
I'll second.
Doug seconds, all in favor? All right, so unanimous.
We also need to find some money to get the trees removed from the park. The trees are dead, dying, infested. Jason, did you find any money?
Mayor and Council, I sent an email out a couple weeks ago, and I had a North Carolina Forestry Service come in this week. He inspected the trees. He said that the trees are diseased, that, the major one down at the playground area has like an airborne disease, and the other ones are dead. And he recommended that we do take them down. With that, he said that the Forestry Service and Public Works or us, we would work with him for a grant to try to purchase trees to replace what we're taking down, something a little nicer, smaller to cut. I've had several contractors come in and give prices. They were up in the 20s. One guy walked off, said no way. He said you'd have to tear your whole park out before I would come in there and do it. The individual that we use down on Spencer, he has a piece of equipment that he can cut from the road, has a boom that goes out and grabs a tree, saws it, brings it back in, puts it in bed. He was the cheapest, I think it was, CJ, was it 13?
You told me 13 something.
Yes, 13, I had him come, he come back today, the forestry service advised there's 2 trees we could leave that are healthy enough that one's healthy enough it can live a while, the other one's probably gonna have to be cut down in a couple of years, but it's still green, and he took $500 off not to cut them, so you're at $12.75. Drop out with $750.
He did say while he was here, it would be a little bit easier just to get them down. He wouldn't have to reach across to bring back in.
Well, I said if we're gonna do it, we just would go ahead and take the other 2 down.
Yeah.
That's what the forestry had needed.
Right.
Yeah, he did.
If we can find the money.
Yes, ma'am, and, on the recreation side for that, there's money in ball field maintenance, and maybe we could split between a couple line items like that to accomplish that.
What kind of work's got to be done to the ball field, Katie, do you know?
There shouldn't be very much work, maybe a little bit of dirt work, we'll have to get line and stuff put on this very.
Now, last year, we were looking at changing the gravel out with dirt. I don't have to be done.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. There's
Make it
no-
another year.
I think there's more than enough money in there to, take care of most of the field.
And I think too, we really need to do it for safety aspect of not only the park, but the
Agreed.
neighborhood in the area. There's major lines, utility lines that run there, and it needs to come.
I think we need to go ahead and do it, and we'll find the money.
All right. So, we have a motion, to go ahead and remove those trees for $12.75?
No.
13 something.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
No more than 14.
I think it was 13,250 or something like that, no more than 14,000.
I'll make that motion.
I second it.
All right, motion second, all in favor? Right. Any other reports from commissioners?
I want to get an update on the building up here for the police department. I know that it was still in the works, and I know there's something going on with electrical, and if Jimmy's here, maybe or Jason, to give us an update on what that.
And I'll let Jimmy talk too, he's been doing some stuff in it. We originally came in with the, is it okay that we talk about that MPO with the building?
Well, I'm not sure I understood it. Is this the building that is to be leased?
Yes, sir. Are we good? Oh,
Well, I think you can certainly talk about that in open session.
okay.
We'll just, well, you can go ahead and discuss it, I'm ready.
Me and Jimmy have went over, and several of us have talked, the electrical and the heating and air, we can't get the heating and air to come on. We kinda did like a little home inspection of the place, had a guy come in and look at it, and made money. Jimmy talked to the maintenance guys at the shop, they kinda back and forth, and talked to Jimmy, and I'll let Jimmy kinda finish this up, cause I don't wanna step on his toes, cause I know it's kind of a dream at one time, but I'll let him kinda.
It definitely would work better for us, but it looks like it's gonna end up costing more than it's worth, and it's only a 5-year free contract. So basically 5 years, we have to start paying or either move out or something. And being the electrical's bad and the heating and air we don't even know about, I think probably the best thing to do is to back up and pump it. So, and I went with Jason and talked to him. So at this point, I think we're probably just gonna hold off.
That's good.
I'll make a motion to retract the motion and the vote that was made to, allow them to move into that building that way.
I second that.
And another thing, we don't know if that company's gonna do like the last company that came in and got a tax break. When the tax break's over, they pack their bags and leave.
Yeah.
So,
And we don't know either how much they'd charge after the 5 years.
correct. And I'd also like to make a motion to, allow, Mr. Green and Mr. Lunsford to, start, getting contractors to look at making this area, able to be police department building in, and also looking at the lodge to start, because we're coming up on a new budget year, we need to get these plans started now, and not wait till the last day and say, hey, we wanna do this, so.
Well, I asked Mr. Green to put in the budget for whomever will be doing
Right,
that.
whoever we doing it.
For the lodge to be renovated.
Right.
It's a shame the shape it's in, but it needs to be renovated, so.
That's two different motions. We'll vote
First
first.
motion, he has on the board is to retract the, proposal to move the police department over to the Tommy, is that how you pronounce it?
Medics.
Medics, okay. All right, we have a second and a motion and a second, all in favor to retract? No, it is retracted. You'll get in touch with them on that?
We will.
On this retracted, they can find another leaser. Okay, and, the other motion is, we'll still with that in the planning session. We'll go ahead and, schedule a planning session.
Right.
So we can, do some planning, information for each board member of some of the projects that we wanna, maybe
We
look
got
at
that, yeah, that's good.
put into the budget. All
That's,
right.
we got to vote on.
All right, so, before we go into closed session, y'all wanna make a planning session date? Is that next week?
I mean, y'all took the-
We're not gonna go out of town, people.
No vacation requests.
Maybe bring in some wheels, hot dogs or something. Planning session next Thursday, is that good for everybody? Six o'clock. 6 o'clock Thursday?
Did you say 6 o'clock?
You like 6?
6:30.
6:30. 6:30 on Thursday. All right, let's do a planning session next,
What date would that be? The 20th?
20th. Is that open, Mayor?
yeah, be open. All right.
Mayor, I request a 15-minute recess.
Before we go into closed session?
We're going to close session.
All right.
15 minutes.
Go out.
Go out and fellowship real fast. With the guys and then.
Yeah, that way so it won't hold the families, so that's a good idea.
All right, 15-minute recess.